What's good, hikers? My name's Joe, aka Overhill. I'm a thru-hiker, forager, and former wilderness backpacking guide. Today I want to talk to you about my gear list for thru-hiking in the western United States. So this is my standard kit. I took it on the Continental Divide Trail. If you want to learn more about my gear review for that, I'll put a link above or below, somewhere around here. I also did a full-on gear review for the backpack that I'm wearing today, so I'll link that below as well. With that in mind, I'm totally not a gear nerd. I don't pour over every gram and every ounce, and if you're looking for some sort of breakdown of gear that looks like it's never been out of your garage before, this probably isn't the video for you. But I do have a lot of hiking experience, and if it helps share a little bit of information with you to help you get outside, then I think you're in the right place. I will try to leave timestamps below, and I'll try to include links to each piece of gear, as well as a link to my lighter pack account in case you want to see what I have, how it stands, and what it might look like for you to create your own lighter pack account. So with that in mind, hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and let me know what kind of content you want to see moving forward. All right, first piece of gear, let's go.
Now, first we want to talk about the backpack. I've owned many backpacks in my lifetime. You can see a few of them here behind me, but my favorite, as of recent years, is the Mountain Laurel Designs Burn. The Burn is a 38-liter backpack. Mountain Laurel Designs, who makes it, is a cottage company, I think out of Virginia. It's been dubbed the FKT setter because so many, famous or fast thru hikers have worn it. At 38 liters, I find that it is a little bit tight depending on what you're bringing. I don't want to bring a bear can in this, but it'll suit my needs for most of my trips. It doesn't have a frame. It's basically just like a sack tube of fabric. This is microgrid, so it's very strong. This will ride on your back a little bit more like a JanSport school style, so it'll be a little bit lower, more stress on your shoulders, less stress on your hips. So the shoulder pads compensate for that. They're relatively thick here, and there is a sternum strap. The waist belt is a little bit thinner, but it doesn't hold a ton of your weight because you shouldn't be carrying a ton of weight in this backpack to begin with. So that's something to keep in mind. Some folks like to cut off the waist belt to save additional weight. Now, you can kind of order this a la carte from the Mountain Laurel Designs website. I got mine with microgrid kangaroo pouch, and I also got a couple extra bells and whistles and like extra shoulder straps and hip belt because I like to have that volume for snacks and hand sanitizer and stuff like that throughout the day. Quick tip for this sort of backpack: don't buy the backpack until you have all of your gear. Your backpack should accommodate the gear that you've purchased, not the other way around. Never style the gear or your backpacking kit or your hiking kit around the size of your backpack. It should be inverted. So start with the gear, then come to the backpack. Yeah. My Burn was about $250, but this thing is fantastic. It took like 3 months to get to my house because they are a cottage company, but once I've had it, I haven't looked back. I've carried it for over 3.5, maybe 4,000 miles, including the CDT, and the only real bad wear and tear is when I bumped into barbed wire. So yeah, pretty sturdy so far. I wrote a really comprehensive review of the MLD Burn 38 liter actually on Greenbelly. You can check out that link above or below. Now, the first thing I'm going to throw in my backpack at any given time is going to be my pack liner. Some folks like to use pack covers to protect their backpack and the contents within from the rain and weather. I prefer a pack liner. I'm going to stuff this, line the inside of it. Use a trash bag. You can also use a trash compactor bag, which is just like a larger, sturdier version of a trash bag. And I'm going to put it in here. And then this way, even if my backpack gets wet, which it will if you hike long enough, the contents within will stay protected, especially my sleep system, which is what we're going to go over next. For my sleep system, I'm a Quilt user. I like the Enlightened Enigma 20-degree quilt. I've been using this on the Appalachian Trail, CDT, so many other hikes. It's lightweight, and this is a popular one within the thru-hiking community. It has vertical baffles, so they go along the length of the quilt instead of horizontal across. So I feel like it doesn't clump that bad, even though I do tend to snorkel just a tiny bit in my quilt. Otherwise, I rock this 3 seasons all the time. If anything, it's a little bit strong for summers in Washington. Now, when we stuff it into our backpack, we're just going to stuff it loosely inside the lined backpack. Don't put it inside its own stuff sack. Even though the stuff sack makes it more compressed, it'll actually end up taking up more room when it's inside your backpack, which sounds counterintuitive. If you pack it loosely, it'll just expand to kind of fit the nooks and crannies within the backpack. And so I do this every morning when I wake up. It's like the first thing. Get out of the bag, embrace the cold, and stuff. The next thing I'm going to pack in my bag is going to be my Ursack. Ursack, playing on the word Ursa, bear, in Latin, of course. This is basically like a Kevlar sack that's bear resistant. It's not bear proof. Nothing is bear proof, and this will never match the sturdiness of a proper bear can. But if a critter's trying to get your food, this will buy you a few minutes to wake up and scare it away, whether it's a mouse or whether it is a grizzly bear. It's a precautionary device to protect your food and to protect the animal, but if it's left unattended, an animal will get into this eventually. Just learn how to install it properly. I've been using an Ursack for like 9,000 miles and had minimal issues with mice, if anything. The only thing that I've had is something chew through the nylon of this rope, and otherwise, it's still going strong. So since food is the heaviest stuff that we're going to be carrying, I'm going to put this in the backpack close to my back and on top of the quilt. So the quilt acts like a cushion, kind of cradles it nicely. This presses down on the quilt, makes it fill in the bottom of the backpack, so everything is maximizing its space. I don't have any food in it right now, but I would carry my stove in this. Speaking of stove, I prefer to go stove-less because it's lighter weight and it's more convenient for my hiking style. That also could be its own video. For now, I do want to talk to you about the stove that I will use. I like to use the MSR Pocket Rocket 2. It's this little tiny guy. He's not as strong or as powerful or wind resistant as like an MSR wind burner or maybe like a jet boil of sorts, but this will get the job done. I've used this on the CDT and all over Western Washington, and it's really lovely. And what I carry it in is this Toaks 650 milliliter titanium pot. This is a lightweight pot, it boils water just as fine as any other pot. It's just a little bit lighter weight. I just put stove inside, lid on, and then I wrap it up in a bandana so it doesn't jingle, and I stow this on the inside of the backpack. Voila. Next up, we're going to pack some of our worn clothes into the backpack. Now, typically, I carry minimal clothes. It's just going to be one extra pair of socks. That's going to be darn tough. I like these guys. They have like 60% of the fabric on the sole of the foot. They're made of wool, and they are incredibly sturdy. So I only bring 2 pairs of socks, one worn, one not worn. I'll stuff this in a semicircle motion around the food on the inside, and accompanying those extra socks will be my sleep clothes, aka my town clothes. So I will have a pair of leggings, base layer leggings, typically made of some sort of smart wool. I like Icebreaker and Smart Wool, the brand, so some sort of wool fabric. And then I'll also have a top layer that are base layers. So I'll sleep in those to keep the inside of my quilt clean, and I can kind of wear those, around town or whatever if I need to as well. So stuff those in there next in a semicircle motion around the food. Get in the nooks and crannies, real nice and tight. Okay, next let's talk puffy jackets or insulating layers. I love my Western Mountaineering Flash Jacket. I've had this thing since 2016. It's been on every major trail I've been on with me. I've washed it a few times. It's been through all sorts of rough stuff. Stuff the inside of your backpack, the nooks and crannies with this, on top of your carried clothes. Fit in the tight spots. The thing is, we're never going to be wearing this while we're hiking because you'll get way too dang hot if you're hiking hard enough anyway. So I really only keep this on the outside of my backpack when I know it's particularly chilly or if I'm going to be taking a super long break. Then I'll pop it out. Otherwise, it's getting stuffed in here, not that far away even from where the quilt is. Now on top of the puffy, I'm going to pack my toiletries. That's typically just going to be like toothbrush, toothpaste, maybe a little bit of floss, hand sanitizer, some vitamins, pills, whatever. And I'm also going to put my first aid kit in there. And my first aid kit's relatively simple. It's just like a needle, some thread, a little bit of antibiotic ointment, maybe some stuff to soak up or pop blisters, nail clippers, and some medications and Benadryl, essentially. So for illumination, I use an A5 hat clip flashlight. I got this on CPAX. It's really small. It's like kind of like the Noisy Cricket from Men in Black. It's small but powerful. It'll hold a relatively good charge for a few days, depending on how much you're night hiking. And it also has a red light function. So I clip this on the outside of my visor of my hat, and I can see in the dark. I'll carry this in my bag here. That'll go near the outside of my backpack or the top layer. And with it will be my Anker PowerCore 20,000. This thing will charge my my Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus Ultra about 3 or 4 times maybe. I also use this to charge my Garmin watch as well as my Bone Shocks induction headphones. Really powerful. I totally recommend Anker. They make some good stuff. In the electronics bag will also go my keys and wallet, ID, important stuff like that. And this is going to go on top of all the clothes on the second topmost layer of the backpack. But first, into the Ziploc. Next, let's talk shelters. Okay, it's totally non-original, but I rock a Z-Pax Duplex, and this thing's the bomb. It cost a lot of money. It was like $600 or $700, and it got here really quick. In like 2 weeks, it shipped out and it was here. So you get what you pay for. Very expensive, but very light. So if you go on any hike in the Western Washington, a lot of places in California and Colorado, your average thru-hiker or ultralight backpacker is going to be rocking some sort of single-wall shelter. Z-Pax is one of the leaders in the single-wall shelter space, and for good reason. I bought this and instantly got the hype. I have a 2-person duplex for me on solo backpacking trips. I took this on the Continental Divide and a lot of other trails, and it was fantastic. But I've also taken it numerous nights with my partner Tanisha, and it fits us pretty well. We are 2 people. Keep in mind, that means 2 people who love each other very much. If you and your partner don't want to be like butt to butt in this thing, then you're going to want a wider tent or maybe a 3-person tent. Now, one of the things that I love about this, besides being like durable and ultralight and great and every single way I just gushed about, is it's super compactable. So as the very last layer, I'm going to stuff it on the top of my backpack. That's because it's going to fit in all the extra nooks and crannies, and if it rains, it's going to hit my tent first and not hit the warm valuables inside. I don't want to get wet. Once everything's inside, go ahead and clip your backpack up. What I love about this MLD burn is you can kind of just roll all the air out, make it nice and tight and svelte. So that means that everything's condensed and consolidated. You don't have a bunch of stuff hanging off the side, bumping into you. No camp shoes flopping around. I mean, no camp shoes at all with this gear list. So once the tent's inside, I'm going to go ahead and put the tent poles in the kangaroo pouch. Now I want to talk to you about the sleeping pad. I used to rock one of these closed foam cell pads when I was a kid, and then I got more into air mattresses as I was more of a side sleeper, and now I've gone back to these foam mattresses. They're fabulous. They're really affordable, only 30 or 40 bucks compared to like a couple hundred for an air mattress. They're super durable. You can lay this out in the sand or in the duff when you want to take a break and lay out in the middle of the day for a siesta. That's one of the main attractions here, the durability and the relaxation midday for breaks. Quick pro tip with the foam pad. Lay out on it, see how long it is. Unless you're super tall, it's probably longer than you are. Cut off everything that goes, say, like below your ankle, and then you can use that as a sit pad on day hikes, because your ankle doesn't need that sort of protection when you're sleeping anyway. And once you're ready, go ahead and stuff this on top of your backpack. I clip it in like so, and we're ready to roll. For my rain jacket, I'm going to rock the Outdoor Research Helium 2. This is a relatively ultralight rain jacket option. It's a little bit expensive, but not as expensive as some options will go. It's hardly Arc'teryx. OR makes really high quality gear, and this is pretty light. I've been rocking the Outdoor Research Helium 2 for years, since I first started through hiking, and I think it has the right value. With gear that's meant to protect you from the rain, it's usually not going to fully keep moisture off your body one way or another. Either it's super heavy duty and it protects you from the rain, but you're going to sweat from the inside, or you're going to get a little bit wet, but it's going to be more breathable. And I think the Helium 2 strikes a really nice balance. OR also makes the Helium rain pants, which are really lovely. I've owned a few pair of those in the past, and I've had some nice successes with their customer service if I've ever had an issue with a zipper or what have you. No matter what, I'm still rocking the Outdoor Research Helium 2. It's my favorite rain jacket, and I like to put this on the outside of the backpack for quick access in case a thunderstorm rolls in the kangaroo pouch. Now let's take a quick look at the outside of the backpack. Right here is the kangaroo pouch. The MLD Burn has a couple different versions you can get. I got the microgrid because I wanted extra protection. This thing is pretty stiff, so I don't know if I do it again. It's kind of hard to get in and out of. But in the kangaroo pouch, I'm going to have my bathroom kit, my tent stakes. I might have a couple extra snacks in here. My rain jacket, if it's cold and I'm bringing over mitts, I'll keep these in here. Micro spikes if it's snowy, things like that. Ultimately, this is like your extra little bit where you get some additional volume. And then here on the outside of the backpack, we have a couple different straps. Like I said, these are a la carte. You don't need them, but I appreciate them. So I'll typically keep like my spork or maybe hand sanitizer and snacks in this one. If I'm in bear country, I like to keep my bear spray in this one. And then my hip belt will also have some hand sanitizer and other immediate needs, snacks and what have you. Now, one of the last items I want to talk to you about is this Garmin Inreach Mini 2. This thing is a sat phone of sorts. It's an SOS personal locator beacon too, which means that if something bad happens to me and I'm still conscious, I can use this to ping people for search and rescue to come find me. But that's not all. I can also check weather with my plan, and I can communicate via text message with loved ones. They can also track me via a custom URL that Garmin offers. So this is really lovely peace of mind, and it has some basic communication abilities. It is a little expensive to buy the hardware, and it's a little expensive to get subscription plan. Otherwise, I think it's more than worth its weight as far as affecting your base weight goes, because its capabilities and just like risk mitigation ability is totally worth it. But if it is expensive, maybe ask a loved one to help pitch in, because it's as much for their peace of mind as it is for yours. Either way, I like to clip it on my shoulder strap, like so. That way I can check it as I'm walking throughout the day.
And in case you didn't know, most thru hikers, myself included, are using an application when we're on thru hikes or on long trails just to learn a little bit more about water and elevation profile, interp, the like, in which case FarOut is the #1 thru hiking app for backpackers and long distance bikers. I use it for every single one of my hikes. If you want to learn a little bit more about FarOut and what the application can do for you, just check the link below or the link above.
Something to keep in mind is with a backpack like this, you want to keep all of the weight low and close to your hips. Now, water is some of the heaviest stuff you're ever going to carry. It's 2.2 pounds per liter. So carry these in the side pockets next to your hips here. I like the standard kind of smart water bottle style. It doesn't have to be a smart water. It can be whatever. Which brings me to my next point, which is the water filter. I like the Sawyer Squeeze. Sawyer Squeeze is another industry leader. There are a couple different competitors out there, and Sawyer even makes some smaller versions of this, like the Nano or the Mini. Just go with the OG Sawyer Squeeze. The flow rate is going to be worth the extra weight that you're carrying, and stuff it inside your backpack like so. Now, let's talk about worn gear, and it all starts with the shoes. I like the Ultralight Peaks. Really, the foot box is super comfortable. It really helps mitigate a lot of blister issues, and they're just, the kind of the industry standard for a reason. I'm okay with being basic because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, keep in mind with Ultralight Peaks that they can affect your gait if you're not accustomed to them because they are zero drop, which can be kind of uncomfortable on your arch of your foot and your Achilles, so make sure that you're staying limber before you wear them. Now, for socks, I'll be wearing the Darn Toughs. I mentioned those a little bit earlier, but I've been rocking Darn Toughs for a long time, and typically I don't need to change them out until I have about 1,000 miles on each pair. Hey, not all hikers like to wear underwear. I do. That's all right. You do you. I wear the Iceberg Anatomica boxer briefs. They're really comfortable, and over top, I'll wear a pair of usually like Patagonia or REI or Brooks running shorts. Quick tip with shorts. Decide if you like a webbing or mesh underneath or not. Make sure that if you are thick like me, you have some sort of lubricant to keep everything nice and running smoothly and non-chafing. And then decide how long you want the inseam. Studies show that a 5-inch inseam or less will make you hike faster. So that's just science. Look it up. But if you go over a 5-inch inseam, you're probably hiking a little bit slower than you need to. Now, moving up, I know that sun hoodies are all the rage, but these days I actually prefer a tech shirt. At least that's what I call it. So basically, you can wear Columbia. I like Ex Officio, REI. They all make great options, but a tech shirt protects you from the sun. Usually has some SPF protection in there. You have some functionality for versatility. You can roll up your sleeves. You can unbutton. I run hot, which I really like those options for. And then finally, you can pop your collar if you're feeling cool. That'll help protect your neck as well. Now, from the collarbone up, I like to rock a buff or a neck gaiter. You see I'm wearing it right now to help keep the volume in check, but typically I'm wearing it around my neck, and then a hat as well. I like a visor from Outer Rims. Outer Rims has a lot of fun prints. You can check them out at Outer Rims Headwear on Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, fun prints, and it fits the volume of my head and my hair, so that's why I like to rock a visor. It's all part of the sun system to keep my face cool and protected. You have a beard, this is protected. You wear sunglasses, this is protected. You wear the hat, and you got the long hair. Forehead, ears, and neck are all protected, so that's how I like to rock it while I'm on trail. Now, finally, in my hands, you can call this worn gear, you can call it carried gear. I don't care, just don't call it late for dinner, are your trekking poles. Now, I like to use 2 because my tent requires 2 to set up. And if I'm going to use them, then I'm going to go with a leader in the industry, which is Black Diamond. I use these carbon fiber poles, and I've had a couple of them from over the years, and they've each lasted me 3,000 plus miles. Cork handles, of course, because, hey, classy gentleman here, you got to rock the cork. And these locking mechanisms are really, really strong. So if given the option between this and kind of like a snap and pull lock, I'm always going to go with the adjustable option for versatility and for strength. Once again, I use these to set up my tent, so pick what's right for you. If you're a single hiker and you have a tent that doesn't require these, then maybe you go without. I have friends that have tents that only require 1 trekking pole to use also, so it's your burrito. Eat it how you want. Okay, hikers, that's it for me. This is my typical 3-season gear list for Western United States backpacking and hiking. If you got any tips or tricks out of this that you really appreciated, let me know in the comments what you're interested. If you have any questions, check out the links below. There's a lot of comprehensive resources to help you build your list. And like I said, hit me with a like and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again. Happy hiking.